Do you want to play a game?
I sure hope so, because otherwise, this is about to get a little awkward. Hey guys, Stephanie here. Today I'm going to be talking about 10 awesome TTRPGs you can bring to your table, both during this spooky season and beyond. For each game on my list, I'll give you a mini overview and then talk about what type of groups might enjoy each of them. But stay tuned to the end because I'll also be covering some bonus content for D&D, Shadowdark, Call of Cthulhu, and Mothership as well. 10 Candles is a great choice for groups looking for atmospheric horror in their games. I just finally got to play this one for the first time, and sitting in the darkness around candles evokes a sort of gravitas that I really enjoyed in this game. So 10 Candles is a zero prep game with different modules, but the constant in the game is that the sun is gone, communications are silent, and they have arrived. So your players spend time trying to find ways to survive in vain. And I love like the tragi-horror nature of this, because I think that players can really lean into telling better stories if they don't have to think about winning the game at the end. And the atmospheric component of having to put out candles or burn note cards really does a lot for creating this kind of bleak, feudal vibe. So I think you and your group would really want to give this one a shot if you enjoy movies like Stephen King's The Mist. I also want to give a heads up that the first playthrough of this game can feel a little bit awkward. If your group's only TTRPG experience is with D&D, it can feel really foreign to be able to just grab control of the narrative for some players. So I'd consider giving it a few playthroughs before passing judgment if that's the kind of background that your players are coming from. So this is another game that's a little bit bleak in knowing that survival isn't the goal of your game, but this one definitely has more of that gothic horror-inspired setting. So if you're not familiar with the tale of Bluebeard's Bride, it's a folktale about a man who likes to acquire and then murder wives. What a fun hobby. So in this story, all of the players are playing different personality aspects of Bluebeard's newest wife. So everyone's playing one single character. And this reads like a dark and twisty version of the character mechanic and everyone is John. But this game is all about the exploration and slow discovery of the horrors in Bluebeard's house. And everything comes down to a single question, which is, will you open the one door you were told not to? So again, great game choice if you and your group enjoy gothic horror, bleak but powerful storytelling, and it's probably especially appealing to people who like movies like Crimson Peak and Sleepy Hollow. If you're looking for a more long-form game, or at least something that can last a couple of sessions, now's the perfect time to start up a Vampire the Masquerade campaign. Vampiric horror is always classic, and this is especially great if you want to give your PCs the chance to be the not-so-good guys. I think Vampire the Masquerade has some of my favorite character building tools. They really bring a lot of depth and understanding and world building to your little child of the night. So if your players really love movies and books like Interview with a Vampire, it's probably time to give this one a shot. But be warned, many of these games devolve into more of a what we do in the shadows type of play. So you may potentially have players that are interested in different levels of seriousness for this campaign. I'm gonna give a big warning right now. This game definitely isn't for everybody. Vampire the Masquerade can have some messed up feeling moments, but Cult really takes the cake on this one. So you really need great group buy-in and a firm understanding of safety tools if you're gonna run this one. If you don't, this can easily turn into TTRPG horror story territory, and not in the fun seasonal way that we're going for here. The main premise in Cult is that we're existing in this horror obscuring matrix. And some of us get these occasional brief glimpses into our horrific reality. But if you and your group like Clive Barker books or are fans of the video game Silent Hill, Cult really hits that fucked up horror spot in my heart. If you're looking to test it out and see if it's something your group would be interested in, Oakwood Heights is the module with the right amount of horror without getting in too over your head your first time playing through. Want something that fits the spooky season bill but is a bit lighter than whatever that just was? Brindlewood Bay is another game I recently got a chance to finally test drive, and I love it so much, you guys. You get to play little ladies They're called Mavens because they're part of the Murder Mavens Mystery Book Club. They help local authorities solve crime cases. Ugh, it's so cute, but it still touches on a lot of fun, dark murder mystery themes. So if you want some light and fun horror and really love yourself some Golden Girls, a Brindlewood Bay one-shot should absolutely be on your Halloween docket. Maybe you hate this part of the year. Maybe you wish it could be summer forever. If that's the case, we're polar opposites, but I still have a great pick for you. Sleepaway by J-Dragon is a game all about being a camp counselor at a not-so-ordinary summer camp. It involves dealing with a pretty creepy cryptid issue, and it's a game that really toes that right amount of light and dark juxtaposition in terms of themes. It delves a lot into psychological horror and issues like generational trauma, and the character creation for this one is really beautiful. I really love Jay's approach to playbooks across all of their different games, and Sleepaway is no exception. So if you love cryptids and the horror that life already is, and you want to keep one foot planted firmly in summer, this is the pick for you. One bone I'll always have to pick with D&D is the fact that they treat Fae in such a whimsical manner. Because if you're like me and you and your players at your table love Celtic and Nordic folklore inspiration and things like the Brothers Grimm, you'll know that it's not quite an accurate portrayal. So if you feel the same way and you haven't checked out Vaesen yet, boy are you in for a treat! It's another great TTRPG from Free League, and in this game you're one of the rare folk that can actually see these mysterious beings known as Vaesen. So you essentially help investigate matters involving them. The adventure book A Wicked Secret has a great handful of adventures to get you started, the namesake adventure being a personal favorite of mine, but Terran of Indestructiboy actually just did a whole walkthrough on all of the adventures, so definitely go watch that if you're interested in running this one. Not to be confused with the solo board game Final Girl. This is one I still haven't actually had the chance to play yet. So I included a link to the review that had convinced me to purchase this one. But I think it's another great option if you're looking for more of a free-form, collaborative, open storytelling type of night. It's really great when you, the GM, are looking for kind of a break of being in charge of things since it's GM-less, but this is supposed to be kind of a free-form horror movie emulator type of game. So I think it'd be really great for a group of people who they themselves are really into horror movies, because it feels like you'll really need some horror trope knowledge for this game to truly shine. But the game boils down to choosing which of the characters the group has come up with will be the final girl in the end, so to speak. And this involves drawing cards and acting out scenes, but again, a great casual beer and pizza TTRPG night kind of pick. In the same vein as the final girl in terms of probably being best for a group that has a firm understanding of suspense and thriller types of tropes, Dread is a great diceless RPG that uses a Jenga tower to create tension in place of dice. But at its core, Dread is a very rules-light game that again prioritizes storytelling versus surviving and making it to the end and kind of all of those mechanically tense types of horror. The core rulebook has a handful of scenarios that are great for getting started. My personal favorite is Beneath a Full Moon because I love werewolf stories. But depending on what your group is into, there are actually some very diverse modules on the Dread Tower website, which I'll link to below. And it's actually an incredibly easy game to take literally any inspiration from any system and just bloop it right in. And last but not least, we have Delta Green. I was a huge X-Files fan when I was younger, so conspiracy horror games like Public Access, Night's Black Agents, and like today, Delta Green, they really scratch that particular itch to play agents slowly unraveling the lies that are surrounding them, only to have to make really hard choices and then become the type of people lying and covering it up in order to protect others. A few modules that'll help get you started are Impossible Landscapes, which is kind of the quintessential beginner Delta Green module. There's Lover in the Ice, which is a very body snatchery type of adventure. And then there's Viscid, which involves working a mystery while also having to cover it all up. So there we have it. 10 really flippin' awesome games to bring to your table this Halloween season. But just in case you're hoping for some D&D related content, I got you. And not only that, I'm also going to recommend some modules for Shadowdark, Mothership, and Call of Cthulhu as well. Is this also a way for me to cheat and pick more than 10? Yes. Yes, it is. Okay, super speedy bonus round! The ever-popular Curse of Strahd is a classic spooky season playthrough. But if you don't want to dedicate a whole campaign's worth of time to running a Halloween game, consider running the one-shot version, which is Strahd Must Die Tonight. If you don't care about playing through exactly what's in the traditional Curse of Strahd though, there's also One Night Strahd that's a fun-looking riff on this. And if you've already played Curse of Strahd but you're feeling nostalgic, I've been dying to play through She is the Ancient, which is a gender-bent take on Curse of Strahd that's always looked really interesting to me. And if you want something that's not just undead and vampires, Chains of Asmodeus will take your characters on a journey through the 9 hells. I think that would also be just as thematic for this time of year. If you like sci-fi and space horror and haven't given Mothership a try yet, check out these bad boys. Gradient Descent is one of my favorite modules. It's really great for exploring artificial intelligence themed horror. Dying Hard on Hardlight Station combines the feel of alien movies with action movies, but it also has a lot of really hard choices for your players to make as they go through it. And then there's the classic A Pound of Flesh. This module has not only stunning design, not only a fun adventure, but it is also very useful for subsequent Mothership adventures. I refer back to it all the time, especially when I'm trying to homebrew something, because once you play Mothership, you are not going to want to stop. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention some great Shadowdark modules for you to work your way through. If you missed me on Baron Durop's channel Dungeon Masterpiece, all the finalist modules we reviewed that night were based on Weird Tales magazine covers, and they're all great choices for your Halloween game. But Kelsey's Cursed Scroll zines are also really great in this regard. I think Diablerie would be a super fun game to run through during spooky season. Not to mention, I've been dying to get to play a Knight of St. Idris, and I imagine your players might enjoy that too. And we cannot forget another tabletop classic, Call of Cthulhu. Lovecraftian horror always feels like a good bridge between summer and spooky season for me. It might be because of how often the ocean is featured. Anyways, if you're looking to kick off a larger scale campaign, I think that Masks of Nyarlathotep feels like a great place to start. It has an extensive amount of inspiration world building set into it. That way you can just hit the ground running. But if you've been thinking about trying Call of Cthulhu and not sure you want to dedicate a whole campaign to it yet, The Haunting is a great twist on traditional haunted houses if that's the type of thing your group might be into. If you haven't already, comment below with your favorite horror TTRPG or module that you like to play. Give this video a like if you want to see more of these types of roundups in the future. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.